Sports with a Z and a T. Yes, I am back. My name is Bryce. I have my voice back. I am here and alongside Taylor Lattimore. We are, of course, presented by Godzilla Media, sponsored by Save and Face Barbershop, Josh Stone Supply in Troy, and Mohawk Honda. It feels good to be back. Don't get used to it. Don't get comfortable because I won't be back for long. Currently in the process of moving. This is the last week I'll be able to have my setup for probably 2 weeks. But we have a good show in store for you guys this week. Taylor did a great job, did a phenomenal job rolling along with the punches for the past 2 weeks. Taylor, good job. Right. Congratulations. You did great. Right. the show is still existing, so couldn't have fucked it up too much. Yep. But we are back, and boy, has a lot happened. Boy, has a lot happened since I have been gone. True. I intended on being back last week, but I had spent probably the biggest weekend of Philadelphia sports history in Philadelphia. Went to the Eagles game, obviously Sunday night. That's why I originally was down there. However, the Phillies made the playoffs, as I'm sure everybody is well aware of at this point, and went to the first postseason game the Phillies have had at home in 11 years, and needless to say, I lost my voice, and it did not honestly come back quickly. I was not sure going into this week if I was able to do the show this week, but as Monday and Tuesday came around, it started to come back. Still a little raspy here and there, but we will make it work. College football. Yes, I'm well aware that Penn State lost to Michigan. Yes, it sucked. But they beat Minnesota pretty handedly, and they are 13th ranked. And they host Ohio State this weekend. We will get to that. I will say this, though. Interesting little tidbit, and it didn't cross my mind. It was actually brought up to me. The year Penn State won the Big Ten championship, 3-week stretch, got crushed by Michigan on the road, bounced back against Minnesota, and then upset Ohio State at home. That is the exact 3-week stretch that is unfolding here this year. Not saying it's going to happen. We will get to it. Just throwing it out there. Let's look at some of the Saturday's games. Obviously, Penn State whiteout game did crush Minnesota 45-17 in a nice rebound game. Ohio State murdered Iowa. Tennessee had a nice little recovery game against UT Martin. I did not know UT Martin was a place. I do now. But they were able to have a nice, relaxing 65-24 victory after upsetting Alabama, as I'm sure Taylor broke down with you guys at length. Clemson humbled Syracuse with a nice slice of pie. Look, that game was close, and Syracuse had the lead. I think Taylor, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I think this was more a detriment to what Clemson might be this year than what Syracuse is. That was an ugly game, and Clemson has sneaked by in a couple games now where, they really could have lost. I think the ACC is weak, and if you're looking at the college football playoff and we're looking at, now Alabama with 1 loss, Georgia is still undefeated, Tennessee finds themselves in the picture. We have the Big Ten still with really 3 contenders. I am still counting Penn State in it because anything can happen, right? We'll talk. I mean, if they lose to Ohio State, they're done.
It's over, but yeah.
But 3 Penn State or 3 Big Ten contenders. Then you have the Pac-12. All of a sudden, Oregon's back in the picture. You have the Big 12 with TCU. I'm sorry, but Clemson might find themselves out of this talk. I mean, Clemson has not looked good. I mean, they might get in on reputation, but their resume doesn't impress me, and their victories don't impress me either.
I mean, I talked about it last week when I broke it down. I was looking at this game, the Clemson Syracuse game, and I was like, okay, well, I mean, Clemson's going to have this one, and it's probably their biggest test for the rest of the season. The problem is, I don't know. I can't get in the heads of the committee always because sometimes they do things that we don't agree with. I don't know if Clemson not losing a game would be enough to justify taking them out because you've already put them up there. You already said, hey, they're a top 5 team in the nation. If they don't lose, then how can you say, all of a sudden, I just based on eye test, I think that they're not the top team in the nation? They've never really gone by just eye test alone. They go by your record over. Like, I think the record is held above all. That's why, like, you can get teams that maybe don't deserve it, like Cincinnati, but they were undefeated. So
Right.
you got to put them in there, especially when you set the precedent of already putting them in the top 5. Now you need to make a solid justification for taking them out. And yeah, I don't know. When I was looking at it, I was like, but damn, I mean, they really don't have a very good schedule. Like, nothing's challenging them on the rest of the way. So if they handle their business, they're going to be on the top 5. Maybe be at 5. They might not. Hi, Otis. They might not be at 5, or they might stay at 5. Is the thing. I don't know if they can they might end up being at 5 if the committees wanted to split hairs with the best teams in the country, and it comes down to the fact that they didn't play anyone. Maybe they say, okay, I know you've been like hovering around 4 or 5 for this whole year, but we have to put you at 5 on the bubble, and that might just happen to them.
Yeah, and I mean, let's keep moving, because Alabama bounces back. They beat Mississippi State. That's another ranked win. Ole Miss falls out of the picture, gets upset on the road by LSU. I mentioned TCU already. Oregon beat UCLA. They're getting back into the fold. So, when you look at the rankings now, Taylor, and I mean, you have Georgia number 1, Ohio State number 2, Tennessee is still 3, Michigan is still 4. Michigan has a pretty impressive resume. I mean, they beat us pretty good. Clemson 5, Bama 6, TCU is up to 7, Oregon 8, Oklahoma State 9, USC 10. For the Penn State listeners, they are up to 13. Look, you look at where Clemson is, and I think the AP voters are kind of onto it, right? Clemson just on the outside looking in, and Alabama with a couple more wins should jump Clemson, because Clemson doesn't have another ranked game on their schedule as of now. Now, obviously, I mean, looking at their schedule, I don't think they have any candidates of anybody being ranked on there, but you never know. But Clemson doesn't have the ranked opponents. Michigan does. Bama does. TCU even does. And then you have Oregon. So, I mean, I look at this top 8 to 10, and I struggle to see where Clemson has a better resume than even a TCU, even an Oregon. If Penn State were to beat Ohio State, they don't have a better resume than Penn State. They don't have a better I mean, even with Ole Miss still has a better resume. UCLA still has a better resume. So Clemson is getting there with reputation.
Yeah, and I think that at some point, reputation has to fall flat, because I feel like if you look at it, you're going to want to put, like, the committee's going to do everything in their power to put Alabama in there. Let's be honest. Sure. Like, if Alabama goes in and they have 1 loss at the end of the year, and it's just the one to Tennessee, and Tennessee's got 1 loss too, I mean, maybe they can, like, I don't know at that point, if it's a 1 loss Tennessee and a 1 loss Alabama, I don't know what you do with that, but I know that there's no room for Clemson in that conversation. And that's just where it comes down to, is even if I'm looking at taking 3 SEC teams, if that's what it comes out to, that's what it comes out to. That's the way it is. SEC is strong at the top. And then you're going to have probably a Big Ten team in there, or the conversation of having 2 Big Ten teams. And then where do you put the SEC teams? And all this is happening. And there's just no room for Clemson in the discussion, not with only 4 places.
No. And this is why, like, the college football playoff expansion cannot get here quick enough, because a laundry list of teams are in the, I mean, you go through the rankings, and really anybody in the top 25 has a shot at the college football playoff right now. And that's kind of what, that's what we all want. And that's, I think, what the college football committee really wants at this point, is to get these. I mean, you don't want 1 loss to just completely eliminate you from college football playoff contention. It sucks. Yeah. So,
I mean, Penn State's looking at that right now, because obviously they have to play Ohio State. So
yeah, I mean, if they upset Ohio State,
then who knows? That throws a whole monkey wrench into everything. Right. But if you're doing a 12-team playoff, and if you're looking at the rankings as they stand right now, you're going all the way down to UCLA being the 12th team, and then Penn State right there at 13. Mm-hmm. and you're just like then it's conversation of like between them and Utah and Ole Miss and Syracuse, and then you get those lower level teams that like can really fight, and they could win. Like any one of those teams, if they played each other, could probably, on any given day, they could win. Whereas if you put like Syracuse up against Georgia, we all know what's going to happen there. It's gonna be nice when we don't have to worry about, is Clemson gonna get in? Is Michigan gonna get in? Is Alabama gonna get in? Is Georgia gonna get in? Or is Tennessee gonna get in? They're all gonna get in. They're all gonna just be there. It's gonna be a no-brainer. It's gonna be like, oh yeah, those best teams, they're gonna be there.
Exactly. Yeah, it's going to be nice, but we still have 2 years to wait for that, which sucks. But we look at this.
There's only 4.
Right. We look at this week's slates. Obviously, I think the game of the week is kind of obvious. Penn State is hosting Ohio State. That is the Fox Big Noon kickoff. Ohio State is 15.5-point favorites. I'm telling you right now, Penn State might not win the game, but they ain't losing by 15.5 at home in front of a jam-packed Beaver Stadium. Very rare. Look at the past scores of Penn State and Ohio State. Just look at them. And outside of that, TCU goes on the road to West Virginia. Notre Dame plays Syracuse, Georgia, Florida, Oregon, Cal, Oklahoma State, Kansas State, Wake Forest, Louisville. Illinois. How about it, Illinois? They are currently your Big Ten West representatives for the Big Ten Championship if the season were to end today. They are 6-1, ranked 17th. They play Nebraska. Cincinnati goes to UCF, South Carolina, Missouri. Another good game, Tennessee and Kentucky. USC heads out to Arizona. Michigan hosts Michigan State. That game will be a bloodbath. Ole Miss looks to rebound against Texas A&M. Pitt on the road to North Carolina, and UCLA hosts Stanford. So not a lot of crazy games. Some good ones. The big ones, Penn State, Ohio State.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely the biggest one of the week in terms of, importance.
And if you look at the caption, it's Judgment Day. This is Penn State's Judgment Day. Your season is over if you do not beat Ohio State for obvious reasons. However, if you beat Ohio State, you jump yourself right back into the conversation.
Yeah, and I did look up. I did pull up because I was curious. Your Penn State versus Ohio State.
They're close.
The last 5, you got Ohio State winning by less than 10. Ohio State winning by 13. Ohio State winning by less than 10, or no, just over 10, 11. Ohio State winning by 1 point.
Mm-hmm.
Ohio State
that one was a heartbreaker.
Ohio State winning by 1 point the year before.
And then the Penn State upset.
Winning, by 3.
Yep.
And then the worst loss going back to 2015 was 30.
Oh yeah, no, that one was bad. We won't talk about that one.
Yeah, and
or
maybe 2013, 63-14.
Yeah, that was my freshman year. Yeah, that was still the sanctioned team. Yeah, that wasn't pretty. No.
But yeah, generally pretty close. Generally within 15.
And that's why I'm saying 15.5 in Beaver Stadium. I'm just saying. I'm not saying Penn State's gonna win, but look at that line and maybe
cover. Maybe,
but they'll cover. Hey, good teams win, great teams cover, my friend.
Yeah, sure. Let's move on.
Yeah, we're gonna move on to the World Series. Oh man, Taylor. We're talking about the Phightins here, Taylor. We're talking about the Phightins. The Philadelphia Phillies not only made the playoffs for the first time in 11 years, but they willed their way to the World Series. Look, this surprises me, to be honest with you. This shocks me. I had said, we were on a show, we mentioned it. I did say that the Phillies would beat the Cardinals. Mm-hmm. But I said, if they meet the Braves, at the time I thought, the Braves are the hottest team in baseball. They just, reeled the Mets back in. They're the defending World Series champions. Now they have Acuna back. I just didn't think that the Phillies were there quite yet. Not only did the Phillies beat the Braves, they handedly beat the Braves. Craziest atmosphere I've ever been to for a baseball game. 2, it rivaled the NFC Championship game back in 2017 when the Eagles went to the Super Bowl. That's how ridiculous Philly was. I mean, we did not sit once. Mm-hmm. We did not sit once in that game. It was unbelievable. Philly fans continue to show out to be the best. But They beat the Braves, and then the Padres, Taylor, upset the Dodgers.
Yeah, I
and
didn't expect that at all.
Did not expect that at all.
Like any predictions I had were because I think we
I
both
said
said
I said
Dodgers.
Dodgers Astros.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 And
Yeah,
like here
Dodgers
we are, and
Astros.
that was shocking, which
Um
kind of opened the door for the
which
Phillies.
which opened the door for the Phillies. Look, as soon as I saw the Padres, because the Phillies clinched before the Padres did, and I'm like, no, knowing our luck, like, look, the Dodgers are going to come back and they're going to reel the series in, and we're going to play the Dodgers, and it's just going to suck. Played the Padres, and I had full confidence in beating the Padres. I don't know about you, but I think the Padres are a wee bit overrated.
I mean, they paid up to try to.
They tried.
to try to
They
get
tried,
here.
but
and credit to them getting there. But yeah, the Phillies took care of business.
Let
Bryce Harper.
Let me tell you that Bryce Harper home run, man, that's going to be played for generations to come.
Did what he needed to do.
He has been worth every single penny of that $330 million that they dished out to him for over 13 years. And on the American League side of things, my condolences, sort of. I
mean, we can't. We have a mental block against beating the goddamn Astros, and
you have a mental block at beating good teams.
This is infuriating. Hey, we got there, but then we lost, and it's just we can't.
You can't hit 150. Yeah, you can't hit 150 in the postseason, and you can't have Judge be hitting 130.
You can't be swinging for the fences all day long. You gotta string some plays together.
Aaron Boone, who was, I'm sure many Yankees fans, including yourself, was hoping he wouldn't be back. Hal Steinbrenner announced that he will be back along with Brian Cashman. So congratulations, status quo for you guys.
Well, it remains
horrible bullpen management, if you ask me.
Mm-hmm.
Horrible. I've look, the Yankees. I never for a minute thought that they had a chance against the Astros, because I think the Yankees even proved that in the regular season, that they were several steps behind the Astros.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't really do anything to reel that gap in. Benintendi gets hurt. Obviously can't do much about that. But this is a Yankees team, there's some mental block, like you said, against the Astros, but this is a good Astros team. And quite honestly, they've been the best team in baseball all year. And they're flexing their muscle.
Tall task for the Phillies.
I'm
rooting for you. I'm
telling you.
You know how Yankees fans feel about Astros.
So on opening day, I put a $25 bet down on the Phillies to win the World Series, thinking I'll never see that $25. I'm not cashing out. $650 cash in would be if the Phillies won the World Series. So I'm hoping. But what if I told?
What's the money line on them just winning it now? Do you know?
I don't know now, but I took them at. Let me pull it up.
Well, obviously it's more now, but it was more then. But I wonder.
Yeah, but I'll know what I took them as. Hang on.
Yeah, I mean, I knew that the Yankees probably wouldn't get past the Astros. The Yankees have a lack of good, consistent starting pitching, which means they rely on their bullpen more often. And then if you have mistakes, handle it wrong.
I took them at plus 2,500. Now they are. My FanDuel froze. I think FanDuel's down.
Go out there betting tonight.
Yeah, I don't know, but anyway,
now they're plus 650 or 165.
Yeah, I know this. I mean, that's significant underdogs for a World Series. I will say this: the reason I think the Phillies can beat the Astros is, one, their top two guys. Aaron Nolas will be starting game 1 and Zach Wheeler will be starting game 2. They give you a chance to win any game, no matter who you're facing against the lineup. Have shut down very good lineups before. This lineup is starting to hit its stride. Not only Bryce Harper, but Kyle Schwarber is just launching baseballs to, out of orbit. Hit a 488-foot ding-dong in San Diego. It was the longest home run in that baseball stadium's history. This is a lineup that's exhausting. and can really wear down the likes of a Framber Valdez or a Justin Verlander or a Lance McCullers. Obviously the Astros lineup is just as lethal. I understand that the Phillies are underdogs. However, the Eagles were significant underdogs back in 2017 against a team that they were not given a chance against either, and did it. So I'm just saying, watch out for the Phillies. And there's just something about playing in Citizens Bank Park. If the Phillies can take one game in Houston, I think that's all the Phillies have to do, because they are winning every game at home in front of that crowd.
You can still get the Eagles at plus 550 to win the Super Bowl. I think that's pretty.
I put $50 down when they were plus 3,300.
Yeah, but I mean, still now.
Well, I think people still think the Bills.
The Bills have. The Bills.
Let me guess, the Bills and the Chiefs are ahead of them.
No, actually, Philly is second. The Chiefs.
Philly is second.
You can get 650 for the Chiefs, which I also think is kind of crazy. Josh Allen's never beat Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs yet. I mean, obviously he's going to have to at some point if he wants to win, but I don't know, man. That's a lot for Kansas City and Mahomes, who've done it multiple times.
Yeah, I mean, I think those are the three teams. I think those are the clear three teams. But
the thing is, the Eagles have no competition to get to the Super Bowl.
Right. Now, let's get to it. I mean, we're talking about it. Let's get to it. The NFL, our Week 7 recap. So supposedly, while I was gone, I need a neutral neutral party, an independent investigator.
You can go back and listen whenever you want. It's on record. It's literally on record. It's recorded.
Supposedly, I lost my ground, and now I'm 7 games back.
You are. You came into last week not doing so hot.
Well, I was in Philly. I had other thoughts on my mind. Okay.
You came into the week before.
Did you pick the Eagles to beat the Cowboys?
Of course I did.
Okay. I'm just checking, because you were flirting around with the Cowboys to win.
I said I would save my Dallas pick for when they're in Dallas. They're not going to lose. They're not going to lose at the link.
They're not losing.
And I was right.
They're the best.
They're not losing ever. But anyway, you were down.
But they are.
You were down 3 games. I had a 3-game lead, and then the week after, or the week of the Phillies game, it ballooned to a 6-game lead. And then
what happened? There were a lot of upsets that week.
You had a very bad week. You went 6-8.
Damn.
Yeah, and
I know I lost my Survivor pick too.
Yeah, you went 6-8.
I had the Giants
picked against the Colts. That was one of them, I remember.
I'm gonna be picking against the Colts a lot more now, buddy.
But yeah, so I 6-8. You had 6-8. I had 9-5. I went 9-5. So I had a really good, decent week. And then last week I went 9-5 as well. Consistency. That's what it is.
Yeah, our only difference was the Giants and the Jaguars, who are not that good. They're not that good. I am going to pick winning. I am going to
have the same number of wins as the Eagles.
I am going to pick against the Giants until they eventually lose, because they're not that good. They're just
and I will
not
continue
that
to
good.
soak up the game difference as I continue to pick the Giants.
They're so fucking bad.
This is the worst week time I picked the Giants. I should.
They're the worst 6. They're the worst 6-1 football team I have ever seen in my life.
They're a very creative team, and they're very good at what they do.
Yeah, well,
Saquon is amazing as well. This.
I mean, I know this.
They're leaning on him so heavily. Like, if he goes down, they're fucked.
Oh yeah, if Saquon gets hurt, it's bye-bye. Week 7, the Cardinals beat the Saints. I think the Saints are about to be sellers. There's a lot of rumors that Alvin Kamara might be shopped, as well as a couple other pieces on that offense, Michael Thomas being one of them. The Eagles currently hold their first-round pick, which is the number 4 overall pick right now, which is just, you have the best record in football and you get a top 5 pick. What more could you ask for? Howie Roseman, God bless you. Cincinnati Bengals handled their business against the Falcons, the Cowboys. Now, I want to talk about the Cowboys for a second. They did beat the Lions. However, they didn't look good doing it. We have 7 quarters of Dak Prescott being the quarterback of the Cowboys, and I have to say that they look better with Cooper Rush. The Cowboys looked awful They looked awful on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, listen, against a bad defense, you'd think that they would do better. But I will say that Dak hasn't played in a couple weeks. So
it's the Lions. That defense, Pee Wee team could put 20 points up on them.
They beat them. They did enough. All they have to do is enough. They have one of the best defenses in the NFL. So like, all you got to do is enough. And I think Dak will get there. I think it's growing pains. I have faith that he'll do better than he did then. I don't know if I'm not saying that it's the Cowboys' year or anything, but they have a good defense, and I think Dak will be fine. I'm not worried about it. Worried about their running game more because they, the way they use Zeke and Pollard in a committee. But I guess if it works for them.
This, we'll rip off the Band-Aid now. What happened, Taylor? What happened? Because I picked the Colts thinking they beat the Titans, and you look like the team that should be like in the top 5 again.
Listen. Our defense is good. It's elite. Didn't allow a touchdown. The only touchdown came.
Was it a pick six?
The only touchdown came from when Matt Ryan threw them the ball, and it was a pick six. They did not allow a touchdown. Defense is good. I'm not even worried about the defense. The problem is that
you should be, because it might win you a game or two enough to not be a
but the offense shoots the defense in the foot and the arm and the leg and then eventually in the head. And they put them in such bad positions that they're always like short field. Always, you have to be perfect. Always hold them to a field goal from the 50. And it's just too much for them eventually. But I mean, they've still been good. So I'm not worried about them. The offense was trash. Matt Ryan and his noodle arm and the fact that he can't move, he's a statue, hurt them a lot. And guess what? It got him benched.
I'll take my Casey Ainley.
Yeah, whatever. What about the Colts quarterback as a
no, not how that works, buddy. Although that might be interesting.
Hey, come on, I'll double down. Double or nothing.
Double or nothing.
Double or nothing.
No.
Well,
this was about Matt Ryan, not Sam Ehlinger.
Yeah, okay. Well, you're scared. You're scared because Texas is back, baby.
You can't even keep a straight face saying that. Look at you. Oh my God. Matt Ryan might be back in because this is what drives me nuts. Why are you starting Sam Ehlinger? Start Big Dick Nick. What are you doing? You have a Super Bowl MVP as your backup quarterback, and you're not going to play? Shame on you. Shame on you.
Because you have a guy who's a second-year quarterback as opposed to however old the fuck Nick Foles is, and he's not even that good.
Doesn't matter. He has a monster down there.
Yeah, for 4 games, not for 13 or more. They're trying Sam Ehlinger out. If he sucks, fine. We lose. We get a better draft pick. If he's good, then cool. We have our quarterback of the future. Do I think he's going to be the quarterback of the future? No, probably not. I don't know. But Sammy season, and you know what? I'm riding with it.
Here's the thing that you have to look at with the Colts now moving forward. 1, most likely are going to be sellers at the trade deadline. 2, so who goes?
Weekend.
So, yeah, and we'll get to that. So keep an eye on that. And 2, is Chris Ballard and Frank Reich at this point, lame duck status? Is the writing on the wall? Frank Reich, there's been several quarterbacks now that have failed out of the quarterback school of wizardry from Frank Reich. Phillip Rivers, Carson Wentz, and now Matt Ryan, who I could have told you that wasn't going to go well at the beginning of the year, hence why I made the bet. But that's besides the point. Just this Colts offense, man, is broken. It's broked. And you need to build around a young quarterback that can throw a football more than 5 yards down the field.
Yeah. So we're trying it out. We're seeing our young guy, see what he has. The other thing that we get with Sam Ehlinger is the fact that he can actually run the ball. And so, if the pocket collapses, which it will, because what do you make faces? What do you make?
He's no more or less mobile than Carson was.
He's more mobile, at least equally as mobile. So yeah,
that's my point. How'd that go?
Carson is mobile. He's just an idiot. And so if he makes better decisions than Carson does, which isn't hard, then he could definitely be at least more dynamic than Matt Ryan would have been, which is why they're probably doing it. And the upside
Taylor,
of
you and
if
I
he
are more
loses,
dynamic than Matt Ryan.
yeah, but the point is, if he loses, then fine, we get a better pick, and we can actually pick the quarterback of the future, and we know that we can move off of Sam. If Sam's good, then we keep him, and cool.
Wonder if we can rip you guys off again and give you like Gardner Minshew for like a
I
first
want
round
no
pick.
Gardner Minshew. I don't think we're doing that because I don't think Chris Ballard will be here long enough. And Frank Reich's definitely getting fired at the end of the year, unless they go and pop off, which I doubt.
Yeah,
They're only one game out of AFC South. That's the sad thing.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. The Commanders, man, something's wrong in Green Bay. The Green Bay Packers are 3-4. Just lost to Taylor Heineke and the Washington Commanders. This Packers offense is broken, man. It is broken more than the Colts, I think. Like Rodgers just doesn't trust anybody. The play calling is very stale. And, they're predictable. And if you're losing to the Commanders and Taylor Heineke, something's wrong. Something's wrong. And, the Packers all of a sudden, man, where do you go from here? Because if you keep losing, look, Rodgers sure as hell ain't coming back next year. Then what do you do at quarterback? Is it Jordan Love? Do you know what you have in him? If not, you're not going to be good enough to get a quarterback. You're bad enough to get a high-end quarterback in the draft because you're probably going to – Aaron Rodgers probably will win you a game or two here and there. But this is a Packers team. Like, you look at it, and this team might not even make the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You would expect – I expected better just because of the fact that they have Aaron Rodgers and that
right.
he can make it work. But the dude just like he's a terrible leader. You just see what he said the other day.
His body language is horrible. His body language is awful.
He was like, guys who aren't playing well should be benched, basically. Like you should be cut.
So you, Aaron. So you.
And it's like, okay, that's great. The great way to tell the media about your teammates and talk shit about them instead of just doing it to their face and being like, hey, you need to play better. This is how you can play better, X, Y, and Z. Yeah, no, he's awful. We knew this was coming. We saw it. He lost his top wide receiver. He had no answers for it, and he it seems like he's just in it for the money. I don't know. They're broken. They are one of the more broken teams because of expectations and where they're at.
Let's talk about the team that may be more broken than the Packers. And that would be Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who just lost to a team that is clearly in fire sale mode. Fired Matt Rule, traded CMC away. This Panthers team is dog shit. Awful. Terrible. PJ Walker was the starting quarterback. Not even Baker or Sam Darnold. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Tom Brady come in and get shut out for the first three quarters, put up a field goal in the fourth, and lose 21-3. You want to talk about panic? Tom Brady and the Buccaneers, another team that at this rate ain't making it to the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I don't know what's wrong with them. They are certainly broken. Like
Giselle probably has something on all of them, and if Tom Brady gets it, he's probably not even focused on that. He's worried about how much money Giselle's going to take from him or something. I don't know.
Yeah, and like he seems distracted. The team all seems distracted. I mean, Mike Evans dropping a wide open touchdown. Like what?
Yeah, whoa. And I think that was a tone setter for the rest of the game. First drive.
So I'm like, what the hell? But
oopsies.
Yeah, so like I just think that it's really weird. Like those two games, like jaw drop shocked me. Like that, like against the Panthers.
I wonder what a double a parlay of the Commanders and Panthers would have racked up.
Probably a lot.
Probably a good amount, right?
Probably. It'd probably be upwards of plus 2,000 at least. Both those games might have been like plus 2,000 on their own.
Let's go to I can't believe I'm saying this. The 6-1 New York Giants. They beat the Jaguars. Barely by half a yard. They beat the Jaguars. But I digress. This Giants team is winning by inches each and every week. it's eventually going to come back to bite him because Daniel Jones hasn't had a true test yet on the road this season, or really against any worthy opponent. Saquon Barkley is their only weapon. Their wide receiver one is Wan'Dale Robinson. This defense is good. They're making plays. I'll give them that. But this is a Giants team that just they're not a 6-1 football team, and people are starting to talk about them as the second best team in the NFC. Let's pump the brakes on that, okay? Because Giants fans, you have a test coming up this week. Not a test that I had expected in the beginning of the year for it to be a test, but it's becoming a test. And then the schedule gets harder in November and December for the Giants. Yes, they have a win against the Ravens. Not so sure how good of a win that is now. Packers, sure as hell. I mean, Commanders just beat the Packers too. So, I mean, you can't really use that either. But this Giants team frustrates me because they're not that good. They're not that good. Look, Brian Daboll, Coach of the Year.
Yes.
He's
Absolutely.
a finalist. He's a finalist.
He's
a
absolutely
finalist.
He's running.
I'm gonna give it to the coach that hasn't lost a game yet. But
no, because he has all the talent in the world. If he were to lose games, it would be shocking. You have the best roster in the league. He has not.
Say that again.
Can
you say that again? Say that again.
You have the best roster in the league.
Oh,
in terms of overall depth, you don't really have many holes.
They just added.
I don't think
Robert
you're the best
Quinn
team,
too.
but that is not here nor there.
Not everybody's perfect, Taylor.
But okay.
You missed me.
I certainly, maybe. Anyway,
Bless you.
what was I saying?
I don't know. You were talking some bullshit about the Giants,
but the Giants don't. And so the fact that he's able to be 6-1 with a shitty roster, same amount of wins as your team with the
we had a bye. We can't win a game on a bye. We've won everything that's been in front of us.
Great teams do.
What?
But the point is, they still have 6 wins and 1 loss.
That they do, and the Giants are 6-1.
And they shouldn't. And you keep saying that they're the worst. They're the worst.
They were the worst
team I've ever. They were the worst 3-0 team. They were the worst 2-4-1 team. They were the
Eagles
worst
will beat
5-1 team.
The Eagles would beat this team by
6-1 team.
The Eagles would beat this team by 20-30 points.
Would they?
Yes.
I'd like to see it.
I can't wait. We have to wait till December though.
Brian Dable's a genius. No, he's not. He is very, very good at what he's doing, and he's using his personnel perfectly for what they are. And they're relying heavily on Saquon. I will give him
that. He has made lemonade out of like one lemon. I will give him that.
Yeah.
However, reality is going to sit real hard with the Giants come like this week. The Ravens and the Browns. The Ravens, they've been scuffing and beating a lowly Browns team by a field goal. There is some legitimate concern with the Ravens too. Lamar has not looked very good after what seemed to be looking like a promising season for Lamar, betting on himself. He has not looked very good in past weeks. This Ravens defense seems to be giving up a lot more than we'd expect. But the Browns are 2-5, and we said all they need to do is hold water with Deshaun Watson. They're not really holding water. The Browns find themselves at 2-5, quickly falling out of it. And Deshaun Watson, by the time he comes back, they may be out of it. But the Ravens find themselves in first place in the division still at 4-3.
I expect more from the Ravens. I don't like the way that they're winning games.
No, I don't either.
But, a win's a win. And as for the Browns, this was always the issue is that they don't have a good quarterback. They have a game manager at best. And if you force him to throw, that's the way you beat him. It's pretty simple. If you can stop their running game and don't just let it dominate you, because they have 2 great running backs, obviously. But the thing is, they need their quarterback, and we won't be able to judge them really until he's back, and then we can start. No. If they're bad, then you can be like, okay, well, now you have real problems. Browns, you hope for a couple more wins before Watson's back. That's
Yeah,
the best
to
we can
just,
hope for.
I mean, the Browns' hope was stay afloat for Watson to come back, and a couple more losses, and it might look a little shaky. The Jets, how Taylor, the Jets, too. I'm talking about another team. You just look and you're like wonder like how are they 5-2? Look, I'm happy for Jets fans because honestly, they deserve it. They're just a very confusing 5-2 football team to me. Zach Wilson is proving to be pretty inept at the quarterback position, which surprises me because I liked Wilson coming out of college. You can't win many football games in the NFL making only 10 pass attempts, but you can do it against the Broncos and Brett Ripon. You definitely can. The Broncos are that I think, Taylor, you want to talk about a lot of the teams disappointing. And the list is getting long here. I mean, there's a lot of teams that not just you and I, but a lot of people out there had a lot of expectations for, and they have just fallen flat. This Broncos team is one of them. I had them winning the goddamn division for crying out loud. 2-5, obviously Brett Ripon in the game, but honestly, the way Russell Wilson's been playing, Brett Ripon kind of looked better. But the play calling's horrible. Nathaniel Hackett seems way over his head. The defense is good. The Broncos defense is very good, and we have known that, and they have been good this year. They just can't put points up on the board. The Jets were able to do enough. Big win for the Jets, but at a big cost as well, as they lose Bryce Hall and Elijah Vera Tucker to season-ending injuries. Big blows for the Jets. Obviously, the Jets did acquire James Robinson to kind of help soften the blow for Bryce Hall. But Bryce Hall was a big reason why that Jets offense was playing well, and Elijah Vera Tucker is probably the heart of that offensive line. Hurts for them, but they at the end of the day, the Jets have the second best record in the AFC. So,
which is crazy.
Yeah, that was a real sentence. Everyone, the Jets have the second best record in the AFC.
Yeah, and the Jets they have good pieces.
They're Jetsing.
Young pieces.
Yeah, go Jets.
Sauce Gardner is
he's good.
Everything as advertised that he was supposed to be.
Yes.
Their defensive line is really good.
Very good.
That's
Very
how
good.
they were able to beat the Packers. They really pressured Aaron Rodgers and made him super, super uncomfortable the other week. And I mean, we knew that they were going to probably beat the Broncos because the Broncos offense is bad as it is. And then you add in a tough Jets defense. And then on the offensive side, you have Bryce Hall, which, he is gone. He has torn his ACL. He's out for the season. But he was a bright spot, a very, very shiny bright spot. And so, for the future, Jets are looking pretty good on offense. They have some weapons. They have Garrett Wilson. You don't know if the quarterback is there yet. Like, Zach Wilson is doing okay. He's playing all right. He's doing enough to make them win, and he's not losing games for them. So you're happy about that. I don't know if he's really the answer to take you to the next level and win you Super Bowls or make you compete for championships. But you like where you're at with the rest of the team around him. It's coming together. And so even if he's not the answer, maybe eventually you find the quarterback down the road. But for the next couple of years, you have these young pieces that are awesome. And you have the second best record. And that's why I think they traded for James Robinson after Bryce Hall went down, because they're still trying to compete. And good for them.
Well, and that's so one of my buddies who's a Jets fan, him and I said the same thing. It's like, this is what's different between typical Jets and what the Jets are this year. Typical Jets, it's like, oh, here we go again. Bryce Hall, torn ACL. We can't have nice things. No, the Jets think they have something here and went out and addressed it. Yeah. And James Robinson, yeah, he got traded. Yeah, he kind of fell behind the shadows of Travis Etienne. But this is a dude that was in the top 3 in scrimmage yards for the running back position in 2020, was very good until he tore his ACL. And obviously they drafted Etienne, and, it just didn't work out. James Robinson, I'm not going to say he's better than Bryce Hall. It's kind of hard to compare the two, but you shouldn't be missing a beat with James Robinson.
Yeah, no, I don't think he's...
And you still have Michael Carter.
I don't think he's better by any means than Bryce Hall. But because I do think that Bryce Hall has a higher ceiling because he's so young. I mean, James Robinson's pretty young too, but I like Bryce Hall better, but still, Like, you're trading for a guy who, in the beginning of the season, we thought that, oh, Travis Etienne owners, you're screwed. You from fantasy, I mean, you're screwed because he's buried behind James Robinson, and James Robinson seems fine. The problem is, I think they just wanted it to be Etienne all along, so it was always going to be that kind of phase out.
Yeah,
But
it's not by any means the Jaguars selling, but I think the opportunity arose for them to dump Robinson
exactly.
and allow Etienne to take it over, and it worked
I
for both
just think
sides.
it worked out for them. They had Etienne in the position, and he had already been taking the snaps
Right.
as the RB1, and so it was like, okay, but we still have this guy. And in fact, they probably shut him down to use him as a trade piece in case a team like the Jets needed someone on a short notice when their running back went down. Because James Robinson was always good. It was just like, you don't really need two of them when Etienne can do it all. So it's like, cool, you keep Etienne. That's the guy you drafted. You spent a high pick on him. And you can get value back for James Robinson, and it works out perfectly for both sides.
Yeah. Let's go. I mean, there's not much to say about the Raiders and the Texans. Raiders handled the Texans. Texans look like one of the worst teams in football. The Seahawks beat the Chargers. Look, the Seahawks are better than I think we all anticipated, and that's a lot of credit to what Geno Smith has been able to do as their quarterback this season. However, I want to talk about the Chargers as well because, I mean, this is on the coaching staff, and I told you, Taylor, like, the one thing holding me back with this Chargers team, they have all the talent in the world. Losing J.C. Jackson for the season is going to kill them. But on the defensive side of things, they have all the weapons. They have, and Mike Williams is out now for a good while, and they have the weapons. They have the quarterback. They have all this promise. Brandon Staley, he does not. He cannot be a head coach. He cannot be a head coach. They continuously seem to be outcoached. They continuously make dumb mistakes. I mean, you want to go back to the Browns game. There was no reason for it. No reason for it. Each and every week, they have a couple moments where it's just like, what are they doing? And it's going to be the Achilles heel of the Chargers. Do I think they might make the playoffs? They might. They're not going to win that division. But the Chargers might, it's going to be the same thing. They might be a wild card team, but coaching is going to fail them. They'll fire Brandon Staley at the end of the year. They'll hire Sean Payton, and then they'll be a Super Bowl contender next season.
Yeah, that's probably what's going to happen. I mean, you have all the talent in the world. Again, we talk about this with a lot of teams where you have the talent, but you don't have the coach to put it together. And Justin Herbert, I mean, for his credit, he's been one of the best quarterbacks, at least regular season wise, not so much winning wise, but stat wise, he has been. And you wonder why he doesn't win more games. And then you wonder at some point whether it's the coach that's holding him back. Like, you get a coach like Sean Payton, and then you just unlock like Justin Herbert within a perfect offense, perfectly set up for him with good clock management and situational awareness when it comes to certain plays, situational football, like they say, and he'll be able to win more games because right now as a starter, he I don't even think he has a winning record. As a total starter, I think he's like 19
Which is
and 20 or
not
something
because
like
which is nuts because we put Justin
good.
Herbert on this pedestal, right? We put him up in the higher echelon of young
Like
quarterbacks.
like
We
he's probably a
compare
top
him with
five quarterback.
we compare him with Joe Burrow.
Mm-hmm.
But yet you look at his record, he hasn't made the playoffs once. He has a losing record. And you look at a guy like Jalen Hurts, for example. They came into the league together, same draft class. Jalen Hurts has a playoff game under his belt. He has a division title under his belt, and he is now an MVP finalist as of to date right now. But it's just crazy the conversations between Herbert and Hurts. Like, one is like idiot proof, can't do anything wrong. And Hurts, he slips once and everybody's like, oh, is he really the guy? Now, that conversation hasn't happened that much this year, but it's been intriguing to see going into the season that Hurts, technically career-wise, may be ahead of Herbert, but yet in the big picture, we all think of Herbert as way ahead of Hurts. You see what I'm saying here a little bit?
Yeah, but I think it comes down to
The draft pick, where they were drafted.
no, I think it comes down to we've seen Herbert make throws that are like otherworldly. Not that Hurts has, I mean, especially this year. I guess we're not really talking about this year because I don't think that that's been a conversation really. Everyone is, I think, consensus on like Hurts has been really good this year.
Mhm.
He hasn't really had a bad game, and that's why they're 6-0. But Herbert can make all the throws in the world, and he's got all the physical gifts, and he's becoming better, even a better thrower than he has been in the past. He has been dealing with an injury this year, but I just think everyone sees the talent of Herbert, and at first they were kind of worried about Jalen's his arm, his strength, his accuracy, and all that. But then he's now they've now unlocked kind of a whole new realm of possibility with the way they use him in the running game, which they really kind of got to last year, and then now this year they're fully like leaning into it. And the fact that he is as good of a runner as, say, a Josh Allen, and also can throw the ball well, especially when he's given the weapons to do so, like an AJ Brown and stuff. And so you see that, and you got to give it to Jalen Hurts this year, especially because he has been 6-0. And you look at Herbert, and Herbert's always had the weapons, though. He's always had, well, Keenan Allen is always out with injury, but you had spurts of Keenan Allen. You have Mike Williams, who's been a stud. You have Austin Eckler, who's one of the best running backs in the league. And you're just like, why haven't you done it? And then maybe you, at that point, you got to be like, all right, well, Peterson, or not Peterson, Sirianni and Staley. And you're looking at the two, and it's like, well, Sirianni, he's doing everything right. He's using his quarterback perfectly to the best of his ability. And that's why you don't hear that talk about Jalen Hurts anymore, because Jalen Hurts isn't trying to do the things that he's not able to do. The coaches put him into the perfect situation, running the perfect play calls, and teaching him the perfect way to be his perfect self. And I just don't think that they're doing that with Herbert, and it forces him to do too much sometimes.
Brandon Staley's not putting Herbert in positions to succeed. The Chiefs and the Niners, I think this game got away from the Niners as it got into the second half, and I don't think it's fully reciprocant of what the Niners are going to be this year. However, I think it was a little bit of a slice of humble pie, thinking of people who thought the Niners may be the second best team in the NFC. I don't think they are. The addition of CMC does make that offense very interesting. Garoppolo is a game manager. However, he's not going to win you games. He can lose you them, though, but he will manage the game. And look, they rely on that defense so much, right? And to have the Chiefs slice and dice them, behind Patrick. Look, I mean, if there's a team to slice and dice anybody, it's the Chiefs, right? But it's kind of one of those things like, those are the type of teams that if the Niners want to get above, get to that next step, which, they've lost to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. They've lost to teams with high octane offenses. If you want to get over that hump, you have to go toe to toe with a team like the Chiefs. And they proved once again that they cannot.
Yeah.
And now they're 3-4.
I mean, I do. It's hard to say who's the second best team in the NFC. I think I'd probably give it to the Vikings right now.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you.
And then,
which is so cringy. Oh, yeah. So cringy.
And then, I mean, the Giants have to be in there just because on record right now, that's where they are. And
take the Cowboys before I take the Giants.
And then the San Francisco has to be up. Well, that's fair.
I'm still going to give the benefit of the doubt to the Rams too.
I'm not giving them the benefit of that anymore. I mean, they've shown me enough to say that they're a mediocre team this year. I don't think that they're in the conversation for second best. Will they make the playoffs? Still maybe, but I don't think they're the second best. But San Francisco could get there. I do believe that, especially if Bosa is able to come back at some point and play well. That defense is scary good, and the offense, I think, will get better. I mean, it's one game.
Oh, of course. No, I'm not. Look,
like, give Shanahan a couple weeks of scheming up more plays.
CMC, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle. That's a scary. I'm not denying that at all. But I just.
And we've seen them do it before, though. Like,
CMC's a sexy name, but like he's not. That's not the guy that's going to take you to the Super Bowl.
No,
I mean, he's going to be a good asset to you.
I'm not saying that. I said could take them to be the second best team in the NFC. Like, I'm not talking about Super Bowl. No, I'm just saying who's the second best team in the NFC. I think that the Niners could be that in a couple weeks. I think they could evolve into that. Just the way that Shanahan makes offensive plays and like designs his offensive, give him a couple of weeks with CMC and then
Oh,
CMC with
absolutely.
Debo, and you won't know who to guard, and it could be really, really good. And we've seen him literally we have seen him be good enough to take teams to Jimmy Garoppolo, good enough to take teams to the Super Bowl. Obviously, he didn't win because at the end of the day, you need to win the biggest game. You usually need your quarterback to play at least above average.
The thing is, like, Garoppolo doesn't have like that Nick Foles performance in him. He just doesn't have that ability. Have we ever seen Jimmy Garoppolo throw for 3 touchdown passes, let alone like go toe to toe with a Patrick Mahomes?
Probably. I can't. I could look it up right now.
Well, I'm sure
I'm sure he's thrown for
every
3 touchdowns at least once.
Every squirrel's finds a nut, but you know what I mean. Like,
yeah, but I mean, if he's getting design plays from Shanahan that are just having Debo and people just wide open, then that's how you do it. It's not going to be him throwing the ball 80 yards to in a tiny window. No, it's not.
I'm not expecting him to.
But can you give it to Kittle and have him run?
But
for, yak yardage.
What happens? No, and I'm not saying that. But what happens when you blink your eyes and you're down 14, 17, nothing? Because Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen or the Eagles just went complete shit on you. You're not going to be able to run those plays.
That's the problem when you're a run first team, when you're doubling down on getting a running back where you already have Debo who kind of plays running back. So you have on first down, you have like a plethora of plays. But if you get into 3rd and 13, 2nd and 17, then what do? You can't run the ball.
Pass to CMC.
Yeah, he's not going to do that. Exactly. And if you get down, like you said, game script goes against your run game. Okay, you can sprinkle them in here and there. It's a long game. You don't have it's not a game of Madden where you're 6-minute quarters. You have time. But you can only do so much. And if you're down by 17 in the second half, then it's like, okay, well now you got to throw it more. And can CMC get into the passing game? Of course. And that's another thing where it's like, okay, maybe he can be more effective than if you got like a Derrick Henry, like he's just a bruiser. So you're going to be handing it off to him. CMC can get involved in the run game, passing game as well. So there is that dimension of it. But ultimately, is Garoppolo ever going to be the sole reason you won a game? You're never going to go out and be like, oh, we won that game because Garoppolo went off. No, probably not. Yeah, no. I can't even say that sentence. Like, it just sounds weird.
Yeah, no, you probably aren't. So the Dolphins did beat the Steelers on Sunday night. Pickett looks awful. The Bears beat the Patriots in a little bit of a surprise on Monday night. Bailey Zappi or Mac Jones. The Patriots are one of the most confusing teams, I think, in the NFL to figure out this year. Let's go to our NFL Week 8 preview and predictions. We'll go through these kind of quickly, go through our fantasy studs and duds, and get the heck on out of here. The day the show airs will be Thursday. Thursday night football is a good one. Well, was supposed to be a good, and it might not be anymore. Baltimore and Tampa Bay. I mean, look, Tampa is really scuttering. They are not playing good football right now. Tom Brady looks lost. The offense is not in sync. The defense is missing pretty bad tackles. And Baltimore is not playing at their best, too. These are two teams not playing their best football right now. Which one's going to show up? I am going to go with Baltimore, though. I think they've shown a little bit more, and there's at least a little more upside here at the quarterback position with Lamar Jackson right now than what Tom Brady has been able to show us right now.
Yeah, this is actually a pretty tough one because
you don't feel good about either, right?
First of all, let's say thankfully that there is actually a good game on Thursday night.
Is it a good game though?
I mean, it should be. It's at least against with two on paper top quarterbacks.
Yeah, two teams that should, going into the year, we thought, yeah, this team's going to be good.
Also, two teams that are desperate because, the Ravens are 4-3, Buccaneers are 3-4. They both need a win. The Ravens need to start gaining momentum so that maybe they can compete for the AFC North or just, the playoffs in general. And the Buccaneers who, it's Tom Brady's not out here to have to have losing records, to have even a 500 team. The dude is 45 years old. He came back and it destroyed his marriage to win football games and to try to win Super Bowls. If he comes back and comes out of retirement for this crap, like he's he's got to be furious, and that's why we're seeing it. He's literally yelling at his teammates on the sideline.
Yeah, I was gonna say we've seen it
because of this bullshit. It's like he literally is like extending his career because he wants to compete for a championship. It's a championship or bust for Tom Brady. Like, he's not 24 just trying to get better. He's 45. He just wants to win. And so yeah, it's gonna be an interesting game. I'm gonna pick the Buccaneers. I think the Buccaneers at home, they right the ship, and they have to get a win. They'll be desperate.
Yeah, it wouldn't shock me either way. We go to the Sunday slate. We have another London game this week, and boy, you better wake up early for this one. Let me tell you, Broncos country, let's ride. Play the Jaguars. Did you see the report that Russell
Broncos
Wilson
country, let's ride.
Yeah. Did you see the report about Russell Wilson doing stretches to keep like his hamstring loose while everybody else was sleeping? Dude, he is a bit, man. He is a bit every moment of his life.
He's become a meme.
I can't take him. And I think the Jaguars are simply a better football team. I'm taking them to beat the Broncos in Wembley. This is like their second home. Jacksonville's used to playing in London.
I mean, that is pretty true. I'm taking.
And if Russell Wilson plays, he's not 100%. And look, it wasn't good 100%. Can't imagine what it's going to be not 100%.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know. I'm taking the Jaguars because the Broncos offense is maybe the worst offense I've ever seen.
Going into the season, this should have been a no-brainer.
I know.
We should be like, Broncos, let's move on.
I know. And it's not. And I think now it's Jaguars, let's move on. Because the Broncos are just bad. If they win games, it's based on their defense. Which, we've seen Trevor Lawrence fold under good defenses.
Against good defenses, yeah.
Four fumbles against the Eagles and was the sole reason they lost, pretty much. So, like, we've seen that happen. So it wouldn't surprise me if because the only way that Broncos win games now is defense. Like, it's the only way they can win games. So there's that. But I'm still taking the Jaguars for my money.
Let's go to the Panthers and the Falcons. Yes, Carolina beat Tampa Bay. Do I think it was a little bit of a flash in the pan, like playing for the new coach type deal? Yeah, I do. I've liked Atlanta a little bit this year. I mean, there are games where they do not show up, and there are games where it's like, okay, we might got something there. Carolina's just bad. I'm not trusting PJ Walker a second week. I'll take Atlanta at home here.
Are you kidding me? I think them beating the Bucs had to have been an aberration. It had to have been. Like, there's no way that
this team's awful.
There's no way that this team is good. And so, yeah, I'm putting Atlanta in because Atlanta fights. Man, Atlanta fights. I mean, they didn't really fight against the Cincinnati.
No, they kind of laid over and played dead. But
yeah, I think Cincinnati just like bashed them over the head in the first like couple quarters, like the first half. I mean, he threw for 300 yards.
I mean, Jamar Chase had like 2 touchdowns and over 200 yards receiving in the first half. It was a little ridiculous.
Exactly. Like, so I think it was just kind of like this really good team, because I do think Cincinnati's really good, punched them in the mouth, and they couldn't recover. But it was the only game that they didn't cover the spread. So I do think that Atlanta can fight and win this game. I mean, the Panthers are god awful. They have to be. They want to be. That's
my logic with the Giants. They're not that good.
No, but their owner wants them to like.
I know they are. If you're trading McCaffrey away, you're tanking.
Yeah, exactly. And starting
Dallas. Well, it might not be much different than Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold. Dallas and Chicago. The Bears are not that good. They did have a nice showing on Monday night, but they just traded Robert Quinn to my Eagles. They are clearly realizing what they are this year. Dallas is, I mean, they have Dak Prescott back. They are one of the better teams in the NFC. There's no way I'm taking Chicago in this one.
Yeah, we're coming up on the NFL trade deadline, and it seems to be that they are going to be sellers. They already are. Yeah, they're not a good team. So I'm going to go with Dallas because Dallas is at least competing now. That's their goal, is to compete now. They have a great defense, and I don't see how Justin Fields is going to be doing very much of anything. I mean, if he tries to run it, then they have Parsons or Van Der Esch, who's probably going to be a spy at some point.
Right.
Yeah, no, there's so many ways that the Cowboys can make it really, really difficult for the Bears.
Miami at Detroit. Now, this game is really interesting because we don't really know what to think of Miami, and we don't really know what to think of Detroit either. I mean, Detroit's obviously 1-5, but they are getting DeAndre Swift back. They are getting Amon-Ra St. Brown back. Some of that defense is coming back. Detroit could put the points up, when they got their weapons. Miami has clearly struggled since their hot start. I'm going Detroit. Fuck it. I'm going Detroit.
Well, I think you're insane for picking them, but more power to you. I'm not the one who's 7 games back, but I'm going with Miami because they haven't lost yet with Tua. I don't know.
Let's start taking some risks here.
Yeah, well, Tua's undefeated, so
Tua also barely beat the Steelers and put up 16 points.
Yeah, and the Steelers have a decent enough defense. I mean, it's not like he wasn't going up against this Lions defense. No, I think that the Dolphins and their receiving core is going to eat against this Lions defense. I'm taking them for sure.
Minnesota and Arizona. I'm going to take the Vikings in this one.
Minnesota and Arizona. Yeah, is it in Arizona? Not that really changes my.
Well, Taylor, this is the first weekend Call of Duty online play will be out, so I'm taking Minnesota.
wait. What time?
And it's at 1:00.
Okay. No. Minnesota.
1:00.
You hammer that Minnesota.
1:00 and COD online play comes out this weekend. I mean,
there's zero chance that
arrow points, Vikings, baby.
Hammer the spread, Vikings to cover the spread even.
Hammer. Yeah. Oh, that's good stuff. The Raiders and the Saints. I'm going to take the Raiders on the road on this one. I think the Saints, there's something going on there. They're not fully healthy. Andy Dalton is starting. They haven't looked very good. They have weapons, and you want the Saints to be good. But at this point, there's talks of them selling too. I think the Raiders may finally be trying to get back into the swing of things. They've looked better of the past couple of weeks. Josh Jacobs is running like a madman. Didn't really see that one coming, fantasy people.
I didn't either.
Josh Jacobs is one of those guys I was avoiding entirely. But I'm going to go with the Raiders on the road on this one. Something don't feel right with me with the Saints.
Oh, this is a tough one because I do think that the Raiders are not a good team either, is the thing.
No, I don't think so either, but they've looked better than the Saints.
Yeah.
Two teams with top 5 picks. I mean,
that's what I mean. It's it's a crapshoot either way. I guess I'll go with the Raiders because they have been looking better on offense, and Josh Jacobs has been killing it. My friend, my roommate has in the league that we're in, he has Austin Eckler and Josh Jacobs. It's turning out to be the top 2 running backs, which is crazy.
Looking pretty good right now.
But, he's set at the running back position.
The Patriots at the Jets. Mac Jones, Bailey Zappi, don't really know. The thing is, no matter what the Jets record is, the Patriots seem to have the house of horrors when they go visit the Jets. I don't know what it is. But they never play well at MetLife against the Jets. But the Patriots are kind of dog doo-doo this year. I'm going to go with the Jets. I'm going to go out on a limb here and take the Jets over the Pats. I don't know if that's going out on a limb or not, but
see the only problem with me, the only hindrance that I'm looking at, because I do think the Jets are, they've been good. I can't say that they're not a good team. They have been good. Now, it only took us till this week to really embrace that. But the Patriots have a good defense, and Belichick is well seasoned against the Jets. Obviously, without Bryce Hall, James Robinson coming in, is that gonna be seamless? Can the Jets defense put enough pressure on Mac Zappy, whichever one is going. It doesn't really matter. There, in my mind, there's not that much difference. I mean, Zappy has been playing better. That's why he came in for Mac after that pick, but still not a good team offensively for sure. But the only way that they win games, the way that I had them beat the Browns a couple of weeks ago, was, okay, stop the run game, force Jacoby Brissett to throw the ball. Lo and behold, they win. The Jets, stop the run game, force Zach Wilson to throw the ball. Can he perform well? I don't know. And so that's where I'm on the fence about this. I guess I'll go Jets because they're at home. And I think they've been the better team so far. So I'll go Jets, but I don't feel great about it.
I feel like it's like the safe pick because you don't know what the thing is, you don't know what Patriots team's going to show up.
But I think it's very strange that the Patriots are 2.5 point favorites.
Yes.
I'd say hammer that because
yes, me too.
I just think the Jets are definitely going to be able to win or be close.
Tennessee at Houston. I'm going to go. I mean, I'm going to go Tennessee. Houston has looked like just they look like Liberty University in the NFL. I mean,
I don't think the Titans are very good, but the Texans are trash. So,
what turned out to be what could have been a Carson Wentz revenge game between him and Matt Ryan is now between Taylor Heineke and Sam Ehlinger. Oh my good God, this game gives me AIDS. Washington Commanders at the Indianapolis Colts. Oh God, I mean, I know who you're going with. I mean, they're both terrible.
Colts have a good defense, though. They really do. It's the difference. It's the difference.
I'm going with Commanders.
You're silly. That's another game for me. The Colts are going to win this game, if not only because of their defense.
I'm going to take my bets with Sam Ehlinger not beating me.
I'll take my bets with Sam Ehlinger beating you. He's back, and he's going to be a beast. He's going to throw for 200 yards, one touchdown, and
how back has Texas been since that statement?
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
I'm not talking about Texas. I'm just talking about Texas.
Okay. I'm just saying the logic applies. It's relatable. Okay.
I don't care.
Okay. San Francisco at the Rams. I'm going San Fran. I've had no reason to believe that the Rams are better than San Francisco at this point. I think another week with CMC into the playbook, I think San Francisco presents a lot more on the offensive side of the ball than what the Rams will be able to control. And the Rams seem broken offensively right now. I'm going San Francisco in what should be a home-like atmosphere for San Francisco because every time they go to LA, it seems to be the case.
Well, most teams, when they go to LA, it seems to be the case, but especially the Niners because they're not that far away.
Right.
So fans can travel pretty easily. Just have to pay for the game there, and they might be able to go home the same day if they want. But yeah, I'm going with the Rams too. Another week with CMC. It's only going to get better from there. Like I was saying earlier, the Rams, when they play good defenses, they tend to fold pretty easily. And the 49ers have a good defense, regardless of they're missing Bosa or not. So yeah, I'm taking the Niners. Like I said, I think the Niners can make a push for the second best team in the NFC. So
yeah, I mean, I am with you on that. I just want to see it before
that's fair.
Am there. The Giants travel across country to go to Seattle, and believe it or not, this may be their biggest test of the season so far. Hostile environment. Seahawks are playing good football. Geno Smith is playing pretty good ball right now. And I just don't think the Giants are that good. I'm going to take Seattle. I'm taking them.
I think I'll take Seattle too, because as far as the Giants have been playing well, the Seahawks have also been playing well, and they are at home, and Seahawks are one of the few places that really give you
you don't go there and win easily.
Yeah, like it really does give you they have a name for themselves, the 11th man,
But look at the Giants' road games this year. You went to London, you played Washington in Washington, and you play Jacksonville and they have not had a hostile environment yet.
Yeah, and that's they're gonna have one in Seattle, and so I think that'll be I could definitely see the Giants winning still because Seahawks aren't a good team,
Right.
so aren't a great team I should say. They've been good. Geno Smith has his moments, so I am gonna go with the Seahawks.
Green Bay at Buffalo on Sunday night. I mean, this game at
Buffalo.
the beginning of the year was like, wow.
Yeah,
I
no,
don't even think we need to say our picks on this one.
no, it's Buffalo. Buffalo to me is the best team in the league. I know you'll disagree, but that's just my opinion. The problem is we won't even get to know, like we won't even know until possibly the Super Bowl. Like
All right.
the way the Eagles are playing, the way the NFC looks.
Speaking of the greatest team ever, the Eagles play Kenny Pickett and the Pittsburgh Steelers at home. The Eagles made a big trade today. They acquired Robert Quinn from the Bears for a 4th-round pick. LOL. Dude, just set your franchise record last year in sacks at 18.5, and all we had to do was give him a 4th-rounder. Hell yeah. The Eagles are gearing up, and supposedly, according to a lot of reports and a lot of the people I follow from Philly, they're not done. They're looking to add a running back to pair with Miles Sanders. They were in on CMC. We'll see. I think the logical pairing with Miles Sanders would be Kareem Hunt.
Mm-hmm.
But we will see. The Eagles 6-0 playing the low life Pittsburgh Steelers in Philly. Eagles by a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna pick the Eagles too. Yeah, like I said, they have the best roster, and they've only improving it. Like you have all these pieces. It's kind of like if you don't win, then what are you doing? Like
Killing myself.
if you weren't winning
sorry.
right now,
I thought you were asking me personally. Sorry.
No, if you weren't winning right now, then Sirianni would be in the hot seat. Jalen Hurts would be in the hot seat because with everything that's around them, it's absurd. And they just keep adding picks. It's an arms race, and the Eagles are all in. And I think obviously they're 6-0. They haven't lost a game, so they see it as it's now. It's now. We have a golden opportunity to win this.
And the scary part is they are so young, and their future is so locked in, and they're not giving away big picks for this talent. They have 2 first-round picks next year. One of them to date is the number 4 overall pick right now. This I'm telling Howie Roseman, I'm sorry for every poor thing I said about you about 2 years ago to date at this point. But I mean, my God, he has constructed a masterpiece, and they continue carrying it forward. Now, I'm looking at ticket prices, Taylor, for all of these games. Because the way they show it on the games, they have tickets and tickets as low as next to it.
Mm-hmm.
And every single game has tickets as low as in under $100, except 2. Buffalo and Philadelphia. Buffalo as low as 202, Philly as low as 274. Those are your 2 Super Bowl teams. I mean that's where the money's going. I just found it interesting. You could find tickets for pretty much. Did you know the Colts? You could find tickets as low as $30.
I did not.
Well,
but I'm sure it's on the.
I'm sure they're begging people to get tickets to see the Sam Ellinger face off against Taylor Heineke.
I mean,
that's horrible.
I'm excited because it's either, like I said this to you on Twitter. I'm excited because with Matt Ryan, you knew you were getting every week, and it was going to be either he has a decent week and it was cool, we might win this game, or he's going to be the same old Matt Ryan and he was going to suck. And this week, it's completely unknown. Maybe he'll suck, and if he does, it's okay, well, at least we know, and we can tank hopefully and get a better pick, get in the top 3 hopefully.
So here's a nice little tidbit that's been passed along with a couple NFL sources, including Garofalo and couple other NFL reporters. The Eagles have had talks with Alvin Kamara.
Well, that would certainly be good for them.
Oh boy! If the Eagles get Alvin Kamara, oh my god. We still have another game. Bengals and the Browns are on Monday night. I'm not touching Cleveland. No.
Bengals and the Browns. Yeah, no, I'm gonna go ahead and pick Cleveland, or not Cleveland. The Bengals in that one. The Bengals look to be in like back pretty close to back to Super Bowl form, or at least competing in the AFC. They had their woes in the beginning of the season, but it looks like they've worked out a lot of those, and now they seem to be picking up momentum and really moving it. So I do think that they're I'm not going to be picking against them.
Let's go to our fantasy studs and duds, Taylor, our segment that has been pretty accurate all season long, if I don't say so myself.
For the most part, had a few that were, but
that's okay. We are going to start with our studs. Taylor, take it away.
Okay, my stud is probably pretty obvious at this point, but if you're not starting him, you can rest assured that he is a set and forget starter for the rest of the season, and that is Kenneth Walker on the Seattle Seahawks. I think he's matchup proof at this point. They are relying heavily on him, and he's had 2 games where he just went absolutely off. The volume's there because of the fact that Penny went out with his broken leg, and so Walker is getting 20 carries a game. And with those carries, he is, putting up in the last 2 games, I think he has 200 yards and touchdowns in each game. So, I mean, overall, he is just absolutely going to be dominating from here on out. If you were lucky enough to grab him or have him, then good for you. Penny's injury killed my fantasy team, or part of it, because I did have him there and I was hoping that he could fend off Walker for the rest of the season. And still be involved in the offense. But Walker is absolutely absurd right now. I'm just pulling up his stats because I wanted to get them completely accurate for the last 2 games. So he's had a touchdown in 3 back-to-back 3 games in a row. Had 2 touchdowns last week, 168 yards, 97 yards the week before, and a touchdown. And the week that I think Penny went out, he came in, had 88 yards and a touchdown. And so he is a set and forget guy. I don't really think it matters who he's playing against. I think he's always going to be involved in their run game, and they do rely on the run game. And if he's going to put up 7 yards per carry, 4 yards per carry, 11 yards per carry, and get touchdowns at this rate, then he is just an absolute stud for the rest of the season.
He could be easily a league winner for some. That is the type of level.
Especially because he's probably going to be your flex guy if you have a good, well-constructed team, or he saved you if you have an injury that happened. If you were holding on to him as a handcuff for Penny, then yeah, you didn't skip a beat. In fact, I think he's better than Penny. So he's and he's young. If you have him in Dynasty, lucky you.
Yeah.
Lucky you.
My stud of the week is also a running back, and that would be Tony Pollard. And the reason I say Tony Pollard is last week, Ezekiel Elliott suffered a knee injury. He took a helmet to the knee. He has not been practicing all week, and he is trending towards not playing this week, which leaves that entire backfield to Tony Pollard. Pollard last week in a split finished with 109 yards on 12 carries and 2 targets. And what is even more interesting is he did outplay Zeke. Zeke got hurt in the 4th quarter. So it wasn't like it was because of the injury. He had 63% of the snaps. And I don't think it's a secret to anybody that's truly paying attention, Taylor. You and I have agreed on this multiple times at this point. Tony Pollard's the more explosive back. He's simply better than Zeke.
Yep.
And Chicago has allowed 25 fantasy points per game to running backs. Let me say that again. 25 fantasy points a game to running backs. That's absurd. The Bears struggle. They just got rid of Robert Quinn. That defensive line is even more decimated now. Tony Pollard's going to have a big game this week.
Yeah, I could definitely see Tony Pollard going off, and for the season. I mean, we've always said this. We've always said the reason that they don't just start Tony Pollard is because the name Ezekiel Elliott and the money that they're paying him. But if this injury, which is forcing him to go out, I mean, that's good for Zeke or for Pollard owners because now he can actually be, possibly the feature back or close to it, and it's great for them.
Let's go to some duds of the week, Taylor, and I will let you take it away once again.
I'm deciding between two. How about you take the first one? And if you
Okay.
take one of mine, then then you'll make the decision for me.
Fair enough. So I am going to go with Darrell Henderson, who is the running back all alone right now for the LA Rams. And you're thinking, why? Cam Akers is on the outs. He's been playing well as its top running back. However, if you've been truly paying attention to the Rams, and Kyron Johnson is their rookie that they really like, and he's close to coming back. I think he is still 2 or 3 weeks away. However, they did open the 21-day window to activate him off of IR. Why is that relevant this week? Well, because they're already half out on Darrell Henderson. It has nothing to do with Cam Akers. It has everything to do with the fact that they like Kyron Johnson and the fact that the Rams are playing the Niners. Even if Henderson has a larger workload, it's not going to result in pretty numbers. He had the backfield to himself in week 6 and was limited to 52 yards. The Niners defense is healthier. It's a scary matchup. They've limited running backs to very little success this season. If they do give up points, it's through the air. And earlier this season against San Francisco, Henderson had 39 yards and no touchdowns. You probably have better options than Darrell Henderson this week. Do not start him against the Niners.
All right. My dud, I'm going to stick with a running back. And I'm going to go over to the Falcons versus the Panthers. And I know that everyone was excited because they picked up Deonta Foreman and he went off against the Buccaneers. He had 118 and Chuba Hubbard behind him had 63 and a touchdown. And, they 173 rushing yards for that team overall. I just don't think that is going to be sustainable. I think Tampa Bay played horribly and they're playing horribly and they look broken. Normally they would have a good defense and I would have thought that they would be able to do better. But they're playing the Falcons this week and the Falcons aren't great, but the one thing that they've been pretty good, at least the last couple weeks, is stopping the run. They've actually held whole teams under 100 yards rushing for the past 3 weeks. And so I just don't believe in Foreman. I don't believe in the Panthers. I think that Atlanta could put up some points fast just because the Panthers aren't good and Atlanta has some explosive play ability here and there. I think the game script's going to go against Deonta Foreman and Hubbard. And honestly, it seems like Foreman has the job, but it could easily be if Hubbard starts playing good, they could go with him. I just think he's a tenuous starter and going up against an Atlanta Falcons team that has been pretty good against the run, at least the last 3 weeks. I just think that's a recipe for not starting them if you have any options. Hi, Otis. He's very cute in his little sweater he has.
You like it? It says 0 sniffs given.
I think that's a lie. He's probably given some sniffs.
All right, Otis. We're almost done. Okay. So, yeah, fantasy studs and duds once again this week. We went running back heavy. Kind of neglected the wide receivers, but that's okay.
It happens.
We'll get over it. Otis, can you?
Also, I want to point out that we played each other in the Godzilla Media League last week, and I beat you.
Yeah, whatever. You may win the battle, but not the war.
We'll see.
We'll be back. Otis's army will reign. Hey, you can't win them all. It's fantasy.
No, it's true.
And really, I mean, I didn't have Hurts last week, and Dak didn't really do
that
much.
Hurts.
Wow, that took you all show probably to cook up.
No.
Anywho, so this for me, maybe it for a week or two. We'll take it week by week here. But I am likely going to be out, not because I want to be out, but because I have to start packing my stuff.
You
And
hate me.
I do, but that's not why.
Regardless.
Anyways, no, I got to start packing my stuff, and unfortunately, like my mic and everything, and you kind of need Wi-Fi to do the show. I have to cancel Spectrum here in a little bit. So maybe next week, not likely. And then it may be another week or two before I get everything up and running in the house. So enjoy this view for as long as you can. Because next time it will be set up in my man cave that I'll be having. Nice. Can't wait. But anyway, yeah, it's a busy time. It sucks because it's a good time. I may not be on this show again before the World Series is over. So I would like to send out my prediction, which I am going to say the Phillies are going to win in 5. They're going to take one game in Houston, and then they're going to get it done at home. They're going to get it done at home. The Phightins are going to pull this damn thing off. I'm telling you, it makes no sense. It made no sense to start the playoffs. It still doesn't make sense, but they haven't lost a home game all postseason, and they've already beaten the defending champions. They're going to beat the Astros. Book it. Book it. Talking about the Phightins, Taylor. The Phightins. Said.
Sure.
Said.
I hope so. I hate the Astros.
America's team, man. It is America's team right now. Because if you're not an Astros fan,
I don't think
want
anyone
them to
likes
win.
the Astros or wants them to win. Bunch of bitches. Yeah, good show. I'll be here the next couple weeks. I'll hold down the fort and do my solo thing.
Yep.
Just go through our stuff. We have to talk NBA at some point.
I know we have to talk NBA. That's on the back burner, and you know what? It's okay to talk. Basketball closer to the holidays. That's really when the NBA season starts, anyway. Get some of this crap out. I haven't, to be honest. And part of that's because of the Phillies. But I have not watched they play the Raptors tonight. I might watch it. But I have not watched one Sixers game yet.
Wow.
Which not on purpose, but either the Phillies have been on, or the Eagles have been on, or Penn State's been on. But I haven't watched the Sixers game yet. I have the NBA pass. Maybe I'll put them on after this show is over. They play Toronto, which is a good game. Apparently Embiid got booed in introductions. It is what it is. Not off to a great start, but that's okay. It's a long season. Long season.
Yep. That is true. I hope for the best for your Phillies. And I'm excited to talk NBA when we do. But it is kind of like things happen in September or October NBA that just
it's just weird. It's just weird.
It's not don't get a real sense for the team until closer to the holidays anyway.
I always say the NBA starts on Christmas.
Yeah. There's NFL games on Christmas this year though, so it's gonna be hard.
Eagles Cowboys.
Oh shit, that's on Christmas?
Damn. Yeah.
Damn. What a lineup they got.
I know. And they're wearing their all black down in Dallas too. Can't wait. Everybody enjoy the World Series. Go Phils. Enjoy the football this weekend. Jam-packed. Hopefully Penn State pulls off the inevitable and beats Ohio State. Go Birds. Taylor, your teams kind of suck. I'm sorry.
Sam Ellinger. It's Sammy season.
Sammy time, baby.
It's Sammy season, motherfucker.
So good luck to the Colts. Kinda. I don't know what you want at this point. Do you want to lose? Do you want Sam Ellinger to do well?
I want Sam Ellinger to be either amazing or god awful. I don't want in between.
Rooting for you. I'm pulling for you. So everybody enjoy the last couple weeks of fall here and getting ready for Thanksgiving. I will be on when I see you. This was Sports with a Z and a T. We are presented by Godzilla Media, sponsored by Sponsored by Godzilla Mania. Yeah, there you go, Bryce. John Stone Supply and Troy Mohawk Honda and Saving Face Barbershop up in Saratoga Springs. You can find this in every episode on Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. Follow our Twitter page at sports_podcast, which has been underneath this entire time, as well as mine and Taylor's personal accounts at cbryce21 and at TLats, 2 T's and 2 S's. Until next time, everybody, stay safe out there and enjoy all the sports. We'll talk to you later.
See ya.